Now we would like to begin the parallel session 1.5 degrees roadmap, seize opportunities by decarbonization and create sustainable future. My name is Iwata from the task force of IGES. First of all, our research advisor Mikiko Kainuma is going to give a few words. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Kainuma of IGES. Today, thank you so much for joining this session titled 1.5 Degrees Roadmap. IGES in 2024 April, we announced our 1.5 degrees roadmap, seize opportunities by decarbonization and create a sustainable future. So as we move toward a decarbonized society, we need social and economic transformation and also business opportunities, which are classified into 20 opportunities in 5 areas. Today, we will be hearing from the companies that are addressing these initiatives and business opportunities to discuss how we can expand such opportunities in Japan. In 2004, compared to the emission in 1990, we decided to bring down the emission amount by 70%. And I was one of the members to announce the 12 measures to reduce 70% emissions. However, we were interviewed by a newspaper journalist back then, and they told us that we wouldn't want to go back to the livelihoods of 1960s. But that was not what we meant. The quality of life is going to be the same as what we have now, or even better. But at the same time, we are going to be reducing the CO2 footprint, but they didn't understand. Local production and consumption of renewable energy, urban development to allow more walking, reasonable logistics, and maintained comfort with forests. We have proven that there is a technological potential to bring down the emission amount by 70%, and some of the measures are in place. However, they are not sufficient. In hindsight, we lacked a perspective of looking at those 12 measures from a business opportunity perspective. Today, from that perspective, we would like to discuss how we can achieve the 1.5 degrees roadmap. The 20 opportunities outline will be shown by IGES. And then we will be hearing from Tomokazu Akita, the CEO of iGrid Solutions, Naoko Otsuka of Fujitsu. Next, Yutaka Yamaguchi, a senior manager of Announcers Department of TV Asahi, will serve as a moderator for the panel discussion. This is going to be a 60-minute session. I hope that this is going to be a fruitful 1 hour for you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to ask Mr. Kuriyama to discuss the outline of the 1.5 degrees roadmap of IGES. My name is Kuriyama, Research Manager, Climate and Energy of IGES. Today's presentation is titled Introduction to the IGES 1.5 degrees roadmap, and I will discuss how the changes in society toward achieving the 1.5 degrees target can lead to business opportunities of companies. First is an introduction to the IGES 1.5 degrees roadmap. Achieving the 1.5 degrees target will require significant change. The roadmap sees many of those changes as enablers for building prosperous and sustainable societies and achieving decarbonization. We also see various business opportunities within that change. To this end, we have summarized the changes depicted in the 1.5 degrees roadmap in the document 5 Changes and 20 Opportunities to show where business opportunities lie along the path to 1.5 degrees. This roadmap is based on the analysis of the 180 pages technical report. The technical report presents emission pathways for Japan to contribute to the 1.5 degrees target, decarbonization strategies aimed at more convenient and secure lifestyles, and increased productivity and added value in business activities, and a roadmap by sector. One of the features of the roadmap is that it positively incorporates socioeconomic changes that originate from digitalization. This is because digitalization brings about higher value add and productivity in various services. In industry and offices, we expect productivity to increase through digitalization and more working from home and online conferencing. In the mobility sector, we expect more case and sharing. In energy use, we expect that various digital technologies will enable advanced power supply-demand balance at various levels of the power system. These social and systems changes also promote electrification, energy conservation, and renewable energy. As the graph on the left shows, final energy consumption in 2050 will be 48% lower than today. Electricity will be the main energy source. Renewable energies are expected to increase dramatically, especially offshore wind and rooftop solar. The IGES 1.5 degrees roadmap summarizes these possible changes in 5 categories: change in productivity, change in energy production, change in materials use, change in rules and infrastructure, and change in market mindset. For each of the 5 changes, 4 opportunities are linked to each other. In total, there are 20 opportunities. By doing so, we aim to show which businesses could grow by taking advantage of business opportunities along the path to 1.5 degrees. IGES is currently in the process of publishing a series of examples of companies' efforts to take advantage of the 20 opportunities and the future vision they are aiming for. In today's session, we will have talks related to iGrid Solutions and Fujitsu, so in my presentation, I will introduce a case study of Daiwa House. Daiwa House, under a philosophy of doing everything we can by 2030, is not only promoting ZEB and ZEH in its own facilities, but also in client projects undertaken by Daiwa House to reduce CO2 emissions in the entire value chain. In doing so, they are also promoting the penetration of high-performance ZEB and ZEH by continuously holding dialogues and providing support together with companies in the supply chain. These efforts will lead to a society in which the town is filled with buildings with good energy consumption performance and renewable energy is supplied in the future. Another unique initiative of Daiwa House is the introduction of the internal carbon pricing ICP to its real estate investments. Investment decisions are made by multiplying the amount of CO2 reduction by a carbon price of 20,000 yen, which is recorded as a deemed profit. Traditionally, the real estate market has not been favorable to the development of high-performance ZEB/ZEH due to the desire of developers to keep initial costs low, tenants to keep rents low, and investors in the financial industry to invest in high-yield properties. Therefore, by introducing the ICP, internal carbon pricing, we are looking forward to a society in which buildings with high energy consumption performance are financially evaluated. Developers, tenants, investors, the financial industry, and various other stakeholders reconsider the value of these buildings and promote developments. This slide summarizes how these examples lead to the 1.5 degrees roadmap path. Current efforts include ZEB/ZEH property value assessment methods by ICP and ongoing dialogue with companies in the supply chain regarding the projects that individual companies are working on. In 2030, the ZEH Grade 5 will become mandatory for new houses, and the ZEB/ZEH related market is expected to expand. In addition, it is assumed that various stakeholders will have a better understanding of the positive aspects of ZEB/ZEH for business in our daily lives, such as the high added value of ZEB/ZEH in terms of BCP, comfort of living, and intellectual productivity. In 2035, we foresee that carbon pricing-related legislation will have been advanced, promoting the development of buildings with higher insulation performance and the electrification of air conditioning and hot water heating equipment when retrofitting facilities in buildings. By 2040, as a result, the number of CBCH buildings will have increased on a stock basis. We can also envision a townscape in which existing buildings are additionally equipped with various forms of photovoltaics. In this way, we believe that a combination of individual company initiatives and changes in the rules governing building development will lead us toward the path indicated by the 1.5 degrees roadmap. In this slide, I will summarize what I have talked about so far and generalize about social momentum, where individual initiatives, rules and infrastructure, and changes in market sentiment come together to move us toward a 1.5 degrees pathway. The first step will be to increase the value of advanced initiatives that take the advantage of opportunities tied to changes in how energy is made, productivity, and material use. As a second step, we will gradually update the rules, infrastructure, and market mindset in the existing society based on the experience and achievements of each company's advanced initiatives. Then, as the third step, the advanced initiatives that each company has been working on will be further expanded, and new businesses will be born organically to provide new value to society, and this will solve various social issues. We believe that by building a cyclical relationship between individual changes and social changes, we can move toward a path with significant transformation toward achieving the 1.5 degrees target. This will be the last slide. We hope that our roadmap and activities and the 1.5 degrees roadmap will be used by many people as a guide to help them find business opportunities associated with the changes ahead of time, and we will continue to carry out activities to that end. As shown in the left picture, we have launched a special website for the 1.5 degrees roadmap and are updating its content. We will also post the case studies of the companies we introduced today on the website. In addition, as shown in the right picture, we have held several events related to the 1.5 degrees roadmap and introduced it from various perspectives. From 4 p.m. August 7th, we will be holding a webinar on this topic. If you became interested in the 1.5 degrees roadmap, please check that seminar, and all of the video archives of the past seminars are publicly available. This concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next is we'll hear from two companies that are making advanced efforts to decarbonize as a business opportunity as indicated by 1.5 degree Celsius roadmap. First is by Mr. Akita Tomokazu, CEO, IGES Solutions Incorporated. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Akita, CEO of IGES Solutions Incorporated. I'm going to introduce our company as well as capturing this opportunity of decarbonization as I explain to you about our businesses. First of all, IGES Solutions is in 2004 it was established. Energy management has been our forte in our company. Our mission is to make energy for the future, renewable energy, green energy related. Green energy should be realized worldwide, and renewable energy will be supplied at the economic price, and also distributed power distribution will be realized at the localized places. So we have been pushing ahead with such businesses. More specifically speaking, green transformation, GX solution, and energy trading, renewable energy will be extended more extensively for trading purposes. So broadly speaking, there are two major business areas. I touch upon when I talk about locality alliance. So DX will be promoted with the local people. So that's what we do as well. Our characteristics include PPA, power purchase agreement. Worldwide, this is drawing a lot of attention. And so the demand will buy electricity directly from the power generating entities. Leading company is our company, and there will be about 1,000 facilities. Kilowatt 220 megawatts is the output. So we enjoy these capacities. With regard to PPA explanation, in a stable manner, renewable energy will be procured over the long term. Pricing is basically fixed over a long period of time. So this is drawing great attention worldwide. In Japan, there's a FIT system, feed-in tariff, kind of all across the board tariff. Is not being used. That is levied all across the board among the people. But so out of the economic rationality, this renewable energy will be utilized for the demander. They're going to buy the power. So to the extent that they use, they will be able to procure renewable energy. So our pace is that in a distributed system on the rooftop, there are many cases where system is installed on the rooftop. By making a small unit, it would take time, but 100 megawatts pace is already exceeded per year. If you make a big facility, then improvement of the land and also grid system connection is needed. So on the average, it would take about 2 to 3 years. So in that sense, distributed system 100 mega in a 1-year cycle is efficient, and that is also progressing very much. And at a very speedy way, we can make a renewable energy supply system. And so we have received various awards. And the roadmap of IGES is checked over here. Energy generation is changing to distributed, and digitalization is being used, and it is connected, and the networking is made for digitalization, through the digitalization to make a big power generation. That way, how the community's energy supply is supplied is going to be changed as well. So aggregation business. So the power supply is made in a small way, and that can be expanded into aggregation business, and they are placed on the rooftop, and so close to the users, electricity is generated. So if you focus upon a big area in one place, and then you make a power generation plant in the rural area that will supply to the people in Tokyo, for example, but the energy generated is consumed locally, and you strike a balance and run the cycle so that the local say consumption coming from local production will be realized. When placed on the rooftop, as shown on the left-hand side, there's only a partial sort of panel power generation, depending upon the demand that you kept a certain power supply. Thanks to digital technology, power generation can be maximized. The surplus portion can be recycled or circulated, and that is a surplus power circulating system, which is a characteristic of our company. A real energy platform and digital technology enables all this. What we do is this, and so we manage the power generation side, storage, battery, the EV, and all the necessary using portions will be connected in one single handed management, so that if there is a surplus of solar power, and then we keep them in a storage battery. If we cannot store anymore, if there is a further surplus, and then we are going to bring into focus a greater area to supply power, so that renewable energy cannot be wasted. That is the characteristic of this renewable energy platform. Real new energy platform. By utilizing this within the this local community, and then green energy will be circulated within that community. What we are aiming at is a new energy system. Thanks to this one, without damaging nature, we can generate renewable energy. Renewable energy generated locally will be utilized as a resource, and so the renewable energy ratio can be enhanced, and the energy security will be enhanced, and economic rationality over the long term, renewable circulating town can be realized, and this is distributed. So resilience at the time of disasters will be high as well. So this is a GX city because this is the basis of community building in that way. So that concludes my briefing to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker is from Fujitsu, Ms. Naoko Otsuka, EVP, Corporate Executive Officer, Vice Head of Global Solution Business Group. Otsuka-san, the floor is yours. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Otsuka of Fujitsu. Thank you for this valuable opportunity. I would like to introduce the activities that are in place in Fujitsu. So he just talked about the supply side, but I would like to focus on the demand side. Our purpose is to bring trust to the society through innovation and make the world more sustainable. We have created Uvance, our new corporate brand, in order to address social challenges through our innovation. In Fujitsu, we have what we call materiality. In 2023, we revised our materiality. We have 3 essential contributions, and then we have foundations for sustainable development, in which there are 7 items. Especially among the essential contributions on the left-hand side, we have planet, solving global environmental problems. This includes climate change, resource recycling, and coexistence with nature. This is what we have been working on across the board. Internally, we have worked on work-life shift. This is working from home and other new ways of working in order to enhance the satisfaction of our employees and ensuring economic rationality and at the same time be friendly to the environment. And so COVID pandemic started a little after we started this initiative, and we were able to smoothly transition to working from home. But it was not easy because it is not only the system or IT technologies that we need, but we need to change the way we work. So there were a lot of confusions in the beginning. We started from working from home once a day, and when you click on the like button, everyone sees a response, and we need to be able to feel that you are connected to other people. So we took on such challenge. We tried many things, and we figured out what works and what doesn't. So since the pandemic, we decided to basically work from home and commute to the office only when necessary. We still have 80% of our employees working from home, and we have free seating office, and we have gotten rid of papers. And this means that we were able to eliminate what we used to pay for the commuter pass of our employees. And we are now being able to reallocate the fund to develop better environment. And we were able to reduce the commuting time to 30 hours of our employees. And for employees who were living alone, separate from their family in their hometown, they were able to go back to their hometown and work from there. So we were able to realize a work-life shift, not only the work shift, but also work-life shift. And another example is we are linked to WBCSD. And in our supply chain, we have been working on visualization of the emissions. In Scope 1, we aim to bring it to zero in 2030, and by 2040, we aim for net zero. And one of the initiatives to that end is to visualize our carbon footprint. This is not something that we can accomplish alone, so we need to work with the suppliers to realize this idea. And this is not just about visualization, but when data is visualized, we can better connect the supply chain, which would lead us to better efficiency in the supply chain. So economic effectiveness or rationality is something we are pursuing here as well. In the fashion industry, this is another example of a Dutch company called Textracer. This company is in apparel industry, and they are trying to move away from mass-produced, mass-consumed, price-intensive industry to a sustainable industry friendly to people in the planet. So from production of ingredients or raw materials, transportation, sewing, logistics, and sales, they are ensuring transparency, and they're tracking sustainability of the product and people working in the value chain, and that is available to be seen from the QR code on the tag in the store. Another example is in the logistics area, optimizing delivery plan or transportation plan. This is effective to reducing CO2 emissions and mitigating pollutions in the air. This is using the technology that we own, a quantum computing technology, in order to run the AI engine. This allows us to reduce the time to optimize the transportation route from several months to 30 minutes or so. So logistics cost has been decreased by 2 to 5% inclusive of the number of trucks, traveling distance, and sorting work. Moving forward, we have been facing challenges such as a shortage of truck drivers, and this can be used as one of the solutions. So we have our internal efforts, and our clients are having increasing cases of making such efforts. So toward the 1.5 degrees goal, we would like to continue to address this challenge. Thank you. That concludes my explanation. Thank you very much.
So we'll have panel discussions from this point on. So how we are going to expand the seating opportunities through decarbonization? Mr. Yutaka Yamaguchi will be a moderator, Senior Manager, Announcers Department of TV Asahi. Thank you very much for joining the session. Despite the very hot weather, I'll be serving as a moderator. I am TV Asahi announcer Yamaguchi. It's been very, very hot today, extremely hot. Up until you came over here, probably you struggled very much. Climate change is progressing, quite frankly speaking. We have to take action in order to stop it, otherwise it will deteriorate. Technological innovation to stop it or business solution are very close at hand. What we need to do is to put those technologies into practice. So in that sense, Kuriyama-san and there are two leading edge business people are joining this session so that along with you, and what kind of action, what kind of thinking we should have in order to make a positive change in Japan. So we'd like to think together, and we'd like to come to grips with some conclusions so that we can run a better cycle here in Japan. With that spirit, we'd like to spend the remaining 30 minutes. So, Akita-san, for decarbonization, it's been long since we talked about decarbonization. In the business field, over decarbonization, what kind of changes are taking place? Number one is, I think, economic rationality. That is very important. In the business, of course, economic rationality needs to stand, otherwise very difficult. Renewable energy is costly, but it's good for the earth. And against the climate change, it will be a cost high, but still we should do it. That kind of mentality. But over the last few years, our growth in business, as I showed you earlier, that is economic rationality. So compared to the previous power tariff, it's much cheaper or comparable or cheaper. Therefore, there are more users who use our services, so that can be said. That is true. Not expensive renewable energies can be utilized nowadays. Yes, you're right. I interviewed on the rooftop of the supermarket a few years ago, and I agreed. Solar panels were introduced and systems were introduced, and they were able to reduce the power quite significantly, right? 10% per annum or more than 10% annually, they were able to reduce the power cost. And so in that way, we can reduce the CO2 emissions too. So I think they're very much pleased. And we are not counting upon the renewable energy levy either. PPA system is, and the way we do is that we do not use a FIT system. So going around, sometimes the levies are imposed upon the people. We don't have that, and so that's one benefit. And so the local consumption or self-consumption will spread, and we're going to use without any waste. What about you, Ms. Otsuka?
How are you seeing the changes recently? Is the microphone on? Well, I believe there are about 3 points. One is, well, this is a must. This is something we must do for the planet. There are such advanced clients, and they are being the first users of our solution. And the second point is a regulatory response. So it can be included in the criteria for tenders, or when we try to export, the importing countries' government may have such requirement. So these two are related to cost. But the third point is economic rationality, as Akita-san mentioned. Some clients are doing this for the sake of economic rationality. So our theme is to produce solutions that can bring economic rationality to our clients. So when it comes to visualization of the footprint in the supply chain, we need to be able to understand where is vulnerable or where do we need to focus more on. So it's not just about ESG, but we want to make sure there is a good fit with the economic rationality as well.
As you mentioned, when it comes to logistics, it's not so much a problem as removing waste, am I right?
Yes, it will help us reduce waste, and it will be good for working style, because truck drivers are having to drive for a long distance and thus work long hours, and they are going to be solved. So I think this will benefit people as well. So in that regard, optimizing and making it more rational is common with Akita-san's business. Yes, we need to do supply and demand both sides.
Thank you very much. The next thing is so decarbonization is considered to be opportunities for both companies, optimizing it and make it viable as a business, reducing waste and improving efficiency. That can be said, I would say. So decarbonization of your company and renewable energy efforts. when we talk about that, not just by one company or to contributing to the people and the livelihood of the people and the way of working of the Japanese people, what kind of impact is it giving? Energy is related to the livelihood as well as the industries of the people as well. As Ms. Otsuka mentioned earlier as well, the working style is changed and the concentration of the population in Tokyo is diluted, then energy system that should be sent to Tokyo will be changed. So more distributed power system will be more efficient, right? I think such a recognition will be made. And so there will be a change in values will be taking place. And this is something that will continue in the coming 20 to 30 years. So we need to think from that point of view as well. In our business, I touched upon alliance a little bit. Thanks to decarbonization, distributed power is taking place, and which means that localized and personalized are very much promoted through this concept, which means that from the supply side to the participatory model is taking place. So the local people will be actors. They'll be more proactive in participating in energy schemes. So distributed power system development PPA business can be collaboratively work together with local finance and the local businesses, and then in the power supply, financing can be also handled by the local people, which will be leading to the revitalization of the local community. In that way, we can extend support to the community as well. LNG, purchasing energy, or going abroad, or buying coal. All these areas will be replaced by the local circulating economy as you push for further decarbonization, which will be more beneficial. And in that way, revitalization, the increasing attractiveness of the community will be enabled as well. So there has been an issue of too much concentration in Tokyo. Therefore, there has been Japan being stagnant for 30 years. But I think a lot of provincial areas are not growing. And however, there is a renewable energy dormant in the rural areas. Then local people should be taking a lead to use renewable energy dormant over there. Then there will be, activities being more led by the local people. That is exactly true. So a proactive participation locally will be a good related to decarbonization. I talked about JX City. Renewable self-sufficiency should increase in terms of energy security over the long term. With economic rationality, the good pricing will be provided, then the energy can be utilized in that way. You can attract more businesses, and then the people will increase, the population will increase. The people will gather around, the town itself or the city itself will be more revitalized. At the time of natural disasters, if it is considered to be high resilient city, people can have a peace of mind as well. So decarbonization can contribute to the local community in an indirect way, I think, in that way. So what about Fujitsu's Otsuka-san, decarbonization renewable activities? How are they related to the impact upon the people and the way of work?
Yes, well, earlier I talked about working more from home, and that is a good example. Fathers who are working apart from their families are now able to return to their families. And for new graduates, we used to bring them all to Tokyo office, but after a 1-month training, well, first we need to do a face-to-face meeting because we need to know what we look like. But after a 1 month or so training, they go back to their hometowns. So we have tens of thousands of employees in Fujitsu, and they're not just in Tokyo, but they are spread across the country. And there is also called iTurn system where people are allowed to move to a different prefecture that they like. My team member just moved to Okinawa recently, so that is okay. And when we are working online, it is easier for us to communicate with the overseas members. So you could be living in non-urban metropolitan area, but still be connected to global team members. I think that will empower people living in the regions. So even when considering the work-life balance, that is more suitable or have greater potential. Yes, we can stop working early and maybe participate in the community activities. I think it will allow us to be engaged more with the community. So during the last 30 years, I think it was because of the limits of the existing conventional systems. And one of the reasons was the social structure that relies on fossil fuels. And that is also proven by this concentration in Tokyo. In the regions, they were just degrading in terms of energy security or the population demographics. But for example, TSMC, Rapidus, these companies are building factories, footprints in suburban or non-urban areas. And I think this trend is going to continue.
So against such a background, what is drawing attention is energy basic plan discussion. So in that discussion, AI development, data center are being discussed. The power demand will increase. So that has been pointed out. So when the digitalization progresses, decarbonization, renewable energy, is the power going to increase or is it going to be insured? How do you see renewable energy? What do you think about that, Ms. Otsuka?
Yes, we also have data centers, and basically they are going to be powered by renewable energy 100% in the future. Generative AI is used by many people, and it is called the second internet. I think this is one of the biggest transformations that we face. And when everyone uses generative AI, there will be more demand for computers. So how can we stop the increase in burden? One is to use renewable energy, and the other is, well, this is regarding supply and demand. So on the demand side, we need to think about how to use as small energy as possible to use such technology. So we are developing energy-saving chips and how to do that with Gen AI. All the computer manufacturers in the world are doing this. So the volume of demand is going to increase, but I think we need to pursue the best solution.
What about you, Mr. Akita? What do you think about this point? Well, what you talked about, AI, generative AI or EV, the power increase will be taking place in those areas, and the renewable energies, I think importance will be enhanced as well. The power generation output and also optimization of consumption, both are needed. And then consumption can be better controlled, I think. For example, location of power generation is one thing, but data center, as you mentioned, the hydraulic power generation, wind power generation, data centers can be established close to those power generation sites. Some companies are doing that. Also, the power consumption can be used for the adjustment valves. In the case of Kyushu, there is some surplus power too. Then, in that way, you can increase the demand. It's increasing the R. So in that way, EV charging time can be controlled. So I think consumption can be better controlled in that way. So that is one area that we should delve into further. So we need to draw up a ground design that way. That is important. So if the power consumption will increase, and then the supply side, renewable resources available in the rural areas, in the provincial areas. We need to develop considering that, and so developing in Tokyo and using power transmission and so on and so forth are being used, then that'll be very costly. So where the power is generated, as well as the time, hours when power is used, all the things that need to be discussed further, and we need to raise awareness. There is also supply-demand balance, too, as Ms. Otsuka mentioned. The demand and supply balance of power to be adjusted every 30 minutes. This basis is sometimes very hard to understand, and so including that one, that should be well understood. And for rural areas or provincial areas, I think there are very great opportunities going forward. With regard to data centers for the demand prediction, Kuriyama-san, what do you think about it?
Yes. Well, data center, there will be more demand for energy due to increased demand. And I believe there is a need for an extensive discussion. I would like to show you a slide. This is showing how data center energy demand will increase up to 2050, and red is showing the range of increase. 200 terawatt per hour is the maximum, and in many estimations it says 100 terawatt per hour. So in terms of the scale, in Japan we have 1,000 terawatt per hour, so it's like 10%. And there is a governmental agency that is developing a master plan for 2050, and it is assuming 1,300 terawatt per hour. This range of increase is within the plan developed by the government agency. As Otsuka-san mentioned earlier, on the other hand, data center electricity demand may not increase as much. There are such estimations as well. And in terms of renewable energy, if it is 100 terawatt per hour, we will be able to use PV and offshore wind to afford this much electricity. So this is not a number that causes great concern, but rather this is something we will be able to respond. I hope you can check the discussion paper for details.
Power demand will increase, but we can optimize it, and so increasing portion can be further reduced. Maybe such a research will be more and more tackled. In that sense, technological innovation is very important as part of efforts for decarbonization. Technological innovation needs to be conducted, which will be leading to industrial competitiveness. Decarbonization, renewable energy are one of those elements, I would say, for technological innovation. As the business is trying to work on these things, I'm sure that there are things that you want the government to do. What do you think about that, Mr. Akita? New technology is highly expected quite often, and people have a high expectation for new technologies. The solar panels on the rooftop and the load is lower from the silicon people. They talk about perovskite. This is the next generation Japan's technology that is drawing great attention. On the other hand, going forward, as I reflect the solar batteries and storage batteries, we wing over the things, but we sometimes lost the businesses. Those technologies need to be implemented in society. What kind of support should be extended is very important. Developing markets is very important in that sense. As I mentioned, there's a neighbor regulations in China. In a certain number of EV sales, there should be a certain portion that should be EVs. And then, in a predictable way, to a certain level, there will be a market to be generated. In that case, investment is to be needed in plants, for example. And I think that will be more active. So the support to developing markets is something very important in order to develop technological innovation further, and that is something I expect from the government. That is true. Perovskite that you refer to is related to Yokohama City. Professor Miyasaka of Toin Yokohama University, he developed it. I have been interviewing him, and along with him, China, and I also cover the site in the UK as well for perovskite. China, this is an invention in China, but China is trying to industrialize it and mass produce it, and then company-wise or the country-wide, they are trying to work on it. It's invented by Japan. It's originated from some local municipality, and Japan enjoys the #2 production. And so this can be a domestic, industry as well. So the government should set a more grand objective to develop demand. That's what I think. So on this point, Otsuka-san, what do you think about this point?
Well, this discussion is critical. For one thing, from an IT perspective, data coordination is essential to be able to see many things, but the shape of data is very different between companies and organizations. When it comes to visualization of CO2 footprints and supply chain, we believe it is important to standardize data. So in WBCSD and Catena X, there are global standards that are born from EU. We will not be able to gain industrial competitiveness without such standards. So we need to develop the Japan version of such standards. And this was actually what I wanted to say the most today. But as I was listening to Akita-san, I recognized that we will not be able to win only with that. So we need to also consider how we can connect that to business opportunities. And we need to do that from early stage, from when we develop the solution.
I think that's a very important point that you raised. What about you, Koriyama-san?
Yes, maybe I'm going to repeat what Akita-san has just said, but IGES 1.5 degrees roadmap is about how to accelerate penetration of the existing technologies, especially in businesses, home, and transportation or logistics. So I think we need to promote such policies.
Thank you very much. And I think important points have been talked about. Development and demonstration tests are important, but not just them, but we need to incorporate them into society to expand that. That will be the more final goal. Then decarbonization, and not just companies, but in order to expand decarbonization, then get the municipality involved, get the government involved. What is important? This is the third point. What about you, Ms. Otsuka?
Well, the government, the municipalities, and companies need to work together. But to that end, we need economic rationality as a basis. Because we have capitalism, we are drawn to economic rationality. But having said that, it is not the only benefit. What we should aspire for is something we want to have in common. And it would not worth it if this planet, the Earth, deteriorates. So I think we should have a common recognition so that we can work together.
What about you, Mr. Akita? This is something I think as I do in my business. You cannot say decarbonization. When you use energy, for example, it's not that the convenience of livelihood will increase. So that is something that you have to do. It sounds more like a homework. But you have to look at it from different angle. So we have to think about the convenience of local community. Resilience will improve, and then the business are attracted to the community. So decarbonization should be one springboard for further development of the local community, business opportunities for companies. So translating this one, decarbonization, into that territory would be something we need to do. On the other hand, as Ms. Otsuka mentioned just now, economics is important. And in a more accelerated fashion, you should come up with economic rationality. So the cost should be clearly made for carbon. So carbon pricing is important, therefore. The companies that already incorporate such activities should be benefiting, not at the later stage. I understand. The management doesn't want to do anything that will be loss-making, and so it is very challenging to do that. So pricing discussion is already on the table. So in an estimate, show the carbon pricing, and then in order to prevent that, then there should be some economic rationality discussion will prevail further. Of course, there is a challenging part to it, but I think that is something that society needs to accept. As you said, there is a carbon levy is needed, and that is the direction. But unless you do that, and those people who are trying to strive further will be losing, then that is, we cannot make an advancement. 1.5 degree Celsius roadmap has that important point. So for those people who are trailblazers should benefit. They can get the first mover benefits. Unless you have that, I don't think that the society per se will not be going in that direction. What about storage battery? I think that will play a bigger role. Wind power generation has been delayed in its introduction. Solar power is during the day, so there is no power generation at night. So time shifting is important. So solar light should be utilized in a maximum way. Then storage batteries' importance will be enhanced. Existing technologies out there, but the cost of introducing storage battery still has a lot of issues. In order to resolve that one as a system in Europe, they have employed negative, list of pricing. And by storing the electricity, you can benefit, you can get more money. And so there is some surplus power during the day. I want to charge at night, but by charging during the day, it will promote the behavioral change. Once you charge during the day, you can get some incentives. In that way, the power system is already put in place in some area in Europe. So not just assistance, but that will be also leading to the support for the battery system as well. That will be a good point. What about you, Mr. Kuriyama?
We developed the 1.5 degrees roadmap, and we had intensive discussions with companies, including a 2-day workshop. And what I felt during that meeting was, well, we discussed challenges that span over a longer timeline than business from your usual activities. And I think it meant a lot. Well, the integrated approach of ISAP, which is an overarching theme, this is very similar to what we have done. We will be able to come up with ideas, and we can reflect that on policies to create new business opportunities.
Thank you very much. 1.5 degrees Celsius roadmap should not be a burden. It should be considered as an opportunity, and those members who are gathered here today capture that one and implementing this activity, inexpensive, renewable, optimizing, and leading the society in a better direction. I came up with the impression so far that it's very hard. Many people sort of give up. The climate change is taking place, global warming is taking place. We cannot change it. I think many Japanese people simply accept it. However, mitigation can be done. It can be realized. 1.5 degrees Celsius roadmap is for that purpose. it should not consider it as a burden. It is a business opportunity. What changes society is business. And not limited to companies, but those of you who are present here today, they are working for the companies, but you are also citizens as well. You have families. And so the citizens should choose those proactive companies too. That is important. And those people who are involved in these activities should not receive should be a burden on that one, and so they should be benefiting out of that. And my life work is to cover those people as well. Lastly, it's a piece of advertisement in late September on TV Asahi. Nagasaki's Goto City's offshore floating say power generations, and Nagasaki is also covered as well. It's a special edition for 1 hour program. And renewable energy decarbonization related programs are not that many. So TV broadcasters should also be more proactive to capture the changing society and want the viewers to watch them. And the business leaders who are leading such efforts should be the main actor so that the people can get involved in those efforts so that all of us can make a change in society. Once it is supported by people, and then that circle will be expanded further and further, resulting in the behavioral change. And then finally we'll be able to mitigate the climate change. It's not just a mere optimism. And so those people who are gathered here today, and those who are on the floor and online participants, and also members of society, we all should work together. So once again, thank you very much for joining this session. This concludes this session. Thank you.